Chapter 6. The Dead Man's Bridge. I was on my way to the village. The village was a 2-hour walk away. I had already walked for an hour, so only half of the distance remained. So, guided by the flashes of lightning, I continued to walk. When I had walked for another 15 minutes, I encountered something in the path, which I found very peculiar. The path curved very sharply left and then right. I have trodden this path many times, so I knew it like the back of my hand. With that, I knew that such sharp curves didn't exist on the path. It almost felt like I was walking on an entirely different path, but it couldn't be. There was only one path that led to the village, and without a mistake, I was walking on it. I was tired, and my mind hurt upon thinking, so I dismissed it and kept on going. The rain had started to return to its full glory. The wind was already blowing fast, making my going tough. I had walked for another 15 minutes and was expecting the sight of the village looming ahead in the distance any time now. Another 20 minutes passed, but I saw no sign of the village. The village is supposed to be visible by now. In fact, I should already be in it, I said thoughtfully while scratching my chin. I walked on for a few minutes in a bit of confusion, but then I started to hear a distant sound from ahead. As I walked forward, the sound slowly became clearer. At first, I had had my doubts, but now it had become clear. The sound was of the running water of a river. It added more to my confusion. A river? How? There does not exist any river for 100 miles of distance. First, those sharp curves, and now this. It is getting stranger by the minute. I had already walked for more than an hour of distance from my house, and I had no desire to return to my house, with those demons waiting to get me. I have not come this far to just fail. At any cost, I have to get to the village, I said to myself and pushed on ahead. I was sure that I had left the worst far behind and was safe, but I had not the slightest idea that soon I would be proved wrong. After walking for a few minutes, in the distance, I got my eyes on something. As I moved closer, it started to become clear. It was a bridge, a wooden one with a pair of ropes running along both of its sides to help the passer to cross. As I moved further, I saw that it lay over a fast-flowing river. Swiftly, I reached a few paces from the bridge. I examined the bridge and the river for a while. The bridge rose a few feet above the water surface, and that gap was slowly diminishing, suggesting that the flood was certain. I had to think fast about what to do. I had two choices: return to those dead or go ahead into the unknown. By now, the rain had returned to its full glory and was hitting my face. For the next minute, I continued to look back and forth as my mind struggled to come to a decision. But in the next minute, something happened. A bright white orb of light appeared in the middle of the bridge. It hovered there a few feet above in the air from the bridge's surface. It then started to move forward and backwards on the bridge, as if trying to guard it. Maybe it is a thing of good rather than evil, I said. I knew that good things were always depicted by bright white light, while evil things with black or red. I then took my first step towards the bridge. The orb continued to move back and forth. Suddenly, thunder sounded from the sky, and I jumped. It's just thunder, one of those natural things, I said, and continued to take careful steps towards the bridge. I was now standing on the bridge. The orb thing had reached the far end across. When I had taken 2 more steps, the orb started to return and move towards me. Slowly, the orb and I continued to move towards each other. The surface of the water was rising. Now, I had come into enough proximity to the orb that I could touch it. I stared at the bright light of it as I raised my hand. Slowly, my hand moved closer and closer to the orb. Then I touched it. It tickled a bit. But then, suddenly, a scream of a man came from within it. With fear, I got my hand away from that orb and quickly stepped back. The orb was flashing now. After a few seconds, it went black. Then something started to materialize. Slowly, 2 feet started to appear, followed by a torso and a head. After a minute, a man stood there before me. He looked like a normal village folk, with decent clothes covering his body. When I was just going to speak to him, he seized my throat with his left hand and lifted me a few feet above the ground. My legs were dangling, my windpipe choked. The man then carried me to the side of the bridge and tried to throw me down in the fast-flowing river. But I grabbed hold of the rope and struggled to avoid being hurled into the murky water. The current of the water was high and would surely drown me upon falling into it, no matter how good I swam. We both struggled there for a minute. The man struggled to kill me while I did to survive. When I thought I was done, I suddenly became aware of the knife I had been carrying in my breeches pocket. Carefully, I let go of my one hand off the rope and tried to reach for the knife. With my one hand off the rope, the man was gaining leverage on me. Finally, I got the knife, and without wasting any time, I made a series of blows on the man's arm that held me, the knife stabbing and penetrating deep in the flesh. After the fifth blow, the grip loosened from my throat. The next blow forced the man to release me completely. I was on my feet again, and the man stood 2 meters away from me. He looked ready to make another attempt on me. I don't want to fight this brute, I said to myself and whirled, ready to flee. But to my dismay, everything had become a dark purple of nothingness. The land, from where I had come, was there no more. The only things that were there were the bridge and the river below. I had nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. I had no choice but to turn and fight. Taking a deep breath, I turned. But something had changed. The man had shapeshifted. A long steel sword was there in the place of his left hand, and a wooden club, with sharp nail protruding from it, in place of his right hand. The head was of a giant, black, venomous spider. The man had just turned into a monster. What chance did I have against that? In addition to the venomous bite, the man had a sharp sword and a deadly club. All I had was a kitchen knife, which was not even very sharp. There was no way I would survive this fight. Only a miracle could save me. But then something happened. The knife in my left hand started to quiver slightly. I looked down at it and saw that it was gleaming with red color. What was happening to it? A miracle? I had no idea. Getting close to that creature would be suicide, so I would have to find a way to fight it from a distance. When I was in the forge with my father, after the first 2 hours, I dawdled most of the time. But something else I did there, which could be very useful now. My father forged weapons for the army in the workshop, so we had plenty of weaponry lying around in there, like swords, pikes, knives, shields, etc. I had developed a game that I kept mastering. I would hang a wooden, round armor shield on the wall and hurl a knife towards it. I had gotten very good at this game. Maybe I could apply that mastery here. I looked down at my left hand and saw the gleaming knife for a few seconds, which had stopped vibrating now. I was making myself ready for a throw. I assessed my adversary for its weakness. I needed to find a weak point. I gave a glance at its head, stomach, feet, and then chest. After some calculations in my mind, I decided to go for the head, for the rest of his body was covered with clothes that would keep the knife from getting to the skin and penetrating. I took a few steps backwards, gripped the handle of the knife tightly, and raised it above my head, ready to hurl it toward the head of my adversary. The monster, which was screaming with fury, was now ready to rush towards me. So without wasting time, I took my aim and threw the knife with all the force my body could manage. Like previously, the time slowed down, and I saw the gleaming knife reaching towards its target. When the knife had reached half of the distance, something unnatural happened. The knife multiplied into 5, and all of them accelerated towards a monster. One headed for the head, one for the left knee, one for the right knee, one in the stomach and one in the left chest. When the knives made contact, the monster screamed in pain and staggered backwards. In the next moment, with a thud, it fell on its back. I stood there for a while, with my jaw dropped. Is it dead? I asked myself. He wasn't moving anymore and continued to lie on its back motionlessly. Yes, it was dead. I had slain it. Slowly, the body of the monster started to vanish, the process beginning from the toes and moving to the head. As the parts of the body vanished, some kind of green vapor formed and rose above. After a few minutes, the body was gone, with 4 of the knife that had multiplied from my main knife. I went to the knife and picked it up. I held it to my head's level and scrutinized it for a minute, trying to find a clue of what had just gone down. It had stopped glowing now. What sorcery was it that my knife performed? I asked. I then kissed the handle of the knife and said, "Thanks, little friend, for saving my life." I tucked the knife back into my breech pocket and looked for a way out of this limbo. The water was now touching the bridge and suggested that the bridge would be flooded in a few minutes. Now, the water reached my ankles. I was struggling to keep my balance as the current tried to carry me away to my demise. Both my hands were gripping the ropes tightly at the side of the bridge. Please, let there be another miracle. Please, please, Please. I pleaded as the current became stronger with every passing second. A few minutes later, my whole body had lifted from the surface of the bridge and was now floating. My grip was slowly becoming weaker. Then, far in the river, I saw a mighty wave coming in my direction. With a loud sound, it rushed towards me. In a few moments, the wave would wash over me, and I had no hope of surviving against it. I was surely doomed now, doomed to die. The wave reached 50 meters from me, then 40, 30, 20, 15, 10. I closed my eyes. The left hand had already lost its grip. The wave hit me with massive force, and with that, I lost the grip of my right hand. Soon, with the water rushing into my ears, mouth, and nostrils, I was being carried away from the bridge into my death.